So I realized that I did not keep the promise I made to myself. So let's talk about it. Hey there, I'm Kathleen. Welcome back to my channel. This video is part of my series where I am sharing my nutrition journey. I don't call it weight loss, but it's essentially a weight loss journey. Check out part one, where you can find out why I don't call it weight loss. Now, a little bit about me. I'm a writer, founder, and storyteller. If you want to check out some of my writing, the link to my Substack is in the description. And over there is really where I talk about building a life and work that's aligned with your values, rebuilding in your 30s after loss and life transitions, and doing it with more ease and less chaos. So again, check out the link in the description to check out my Substack. So, okay, let's talk about how I basically broke the promise I made to myself. In the first video of this series, I talked about how I decided that I'm in the best shape of my life. And so because that's a decision that I've made, then that means I need to act like it. And in last week's video, right after editing it, I realized that I was not acting like the person who is in the best shape of her life. I broke that promise to myself. And I say that because if you watched last week's video, I was talking about how sleep is an underrated part of any nutrition journey, weight loss journey, fitness journey, and how I've been struggling with some sleep issues for a while. When I had recorded that video last week, I was operating on like 5 hours of sleep. And it wasn't until after I was editing it and watching it back where I was like, I talked about kind of fighting sleep when it's bedtime. I feel like a toddler, I feel like a kid when they fight sleep. And I'm like, well, wait, if you decided that you're in the best shape of your life, the version of you who's in the best shape of your life or their life, they don't fight sleep. They know that sleep is a part of the journey. Good quality, consistent, regular sleep is going to support your goals. So why are you fighting sleep? But also, here's the thing. So I recorded last week's video in this series. I recorded that on a Wednesday. It went out on a Thursday. The past several weeks, probably the past couple of months, there is something about Wednesday that seems to try to hold me back or just I have not been able to get over the midweek Wednesday hump for weeks. I'm talking about like last week when I got up early, couldn't fall back asleep, was operating on not enough sleep. There was another Wednesday where I had a migraine, and if you ever had a migraine, you know that you're out of commission for the day. There were other things that have happened on Wednesdays. It's like Monday and Tuesday is fine, it's cool. Wednesday comes around and it's like either I have all the energy in the world or I don't. There's no in between. I'm recording this on a Thursday. Yesterday, Wednesday, I also like had some sleep issues. I woke up in the middle of the night because I don't know. I was sleeping on my side. I don't know. This has never happened before. My lower back hurt. Like it woke me up out of my sleep. Never had that before. I was able to fall back asleep, but then I didn't wake up again until much later. Because again, I don't wake up with an alarm. Anytime I ever wake up with an alarm, it usually wakes me up in the middle of a dream. And when you're dreaming, you're in deep sleep. So when I wake up in the middle of a dream, it's just, I keep snoozing. I feel extra groggy, extra tired. So I don't wake up with an alarm. So when I woke up in the middle of the night because my back was hurting, it took me a couple hours to fall back asleep, but then I got my day off to a late start. And then when I woke up, I didn't feel refreshed. I had an attitude. So I ended up not recording on Wednesdays, which I usually record on Wednesdays. I ended up not recording. And so that made me realize that if I recognize that Wednesday seems to be like some type of hurdle, some type of roadblock, something that's trying to like take me out, I can't seem to get through the Wednesday midweek hump, then I need to plan accordingly or manage around that. So that's things like if Wednesday was my preferred recording day, now it's Thursday or another day of the week. I also looked at my schedule to see like, is there too much on my plate on Wednesdays or is there too much on my plate in the front half of the week? Because what I could do is, again, since I can make my own schedule, I could load the front half of the week with more of the the mindful meaning like the stuff that takes a lot of my brain power, do that at the beginning of the week. Wednesday, do like light work or busy work, make it an admin day every week. And then the second half of the week, that can be, I wrap up the week, get the things I need to get done. Because like I said, today's Thursday while I'm recording this. I have so much more energy today. It is a 180 from yesterday. I wanted to record yesterday because like Wednesday is my usual recording day, but I was like, if I record the energy, you're gonna feel that energy through the screen. I'm like, I don't want to put that energy out there. So I decided to, if I recognize that Wednesday is a hurdle, okay, let's work around that. Let's figure out a way so that Wednesday doesn't keep blocking me, slowing me down, holding me back. Now, at the end of last week's video, I said that I was going to work on my sleep and I was going to hold myself accountable to that. So I'm going to be real transparent and admit that I did not do what I said I was going to do. I did not work on my sleep. In fact, that night, after recording that video, no, actually, that night, I ended up getting a headache by the end of the day because I was so tired. So I'm pretty sure I went to sleep early. But a few days later, or maybe the next day, I was fighting sleep again. So, you know, I'm contradicting myself because I said, like, hey, you made the decision that you're in the best shape of your life, and you know that the version of you who's in the best shape, she makes sleep non-negotiable. She prioritizes quality, consistent, regular sleep. Her sleep routine is non-negotiable, and I'm still doing the opposite of that. So I did have to check myself on that. But then also, the other night over the weekend, I woke up in the middle of the night because I had heartburn. And I've only experienced heartburn one other time in my life. It was years ago. It was like the week or days after Thanksgiving. I'm pretty sure I was probably on some like, healthy eating plan or something leading up to the holidays. And then the holidays came and I, indulged. And doing that caused heartburn. The first time I experienced heartburn, I thought I was dying. I went to the ER because I felt pressure. Well, it felt like pressure. The heartburn felt like pressure on my chest, and I don't play about that. So I went to the ER. They, rushed me to the front because I said it was chest pressure. Turned out to be heartburn, acid reflux. But ever since then, I had not experienced it. So when I woke up in the middle of the night with that same like heartburn feeling, and I was just like, what is going on? Because I haven't had heartburn in years. It like kind of it reminded me, it showed me, and I probably had the heartburn because I ate some flaming hot Funyuns and apparently my body is like, no, we can't have these anymore. I know they're not good. That's my guilty pleasure. Flamin' hot onions, Chester fries, I love those. But it looks like I can't eat those anymore because as I've been, following my meal plan, eating more home cooked meals, eating fewer like processed snacks like chips and things like that, my body is like, yeah, we can't do that unless you want to wake up in the middle of the night with heartburn. I have got to make my sleep routine, my evening routine, my wind down routine. I have to do what I say I'm going to do. I understand why they say turn screens off like 30 minutes to an hour before bed because it tricks your body into thinking that it's still daytime or that we're supposed to be active when we're really supposed to be winding down. And I tell myself that, but then I'll be, watching, scrolling social media or be on my phone up until I go to sleep. So I need to set a time for myself. I might need to put limits on my phone again. I've had to do that before. I need to set a time for myself to turn the screens off and wind down. And, if there's something, I talked about this last week, how sometimes we fight sleep at night or we stay up later than our bodies want to because we feel like that's a way of having some type of control. But taking care of your sleep and your sleep habits and getting quality sleep is something that you can control. But all that to say is there are some things that I can do to work on my sleep because this is like one of the things that I need to get a handle on because it is within my control and it does contribute to not just my nutrition and wellness journey, but just like my overall well-being. Let me know what has worked for you if you've ever dealt with inconsistent sleep. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe so that you can continue on with this series, and I'll see you next time.